can get any business, I don't care what business it is, any business out there, if you can get it profitable within 6 months, that's incredible.
She literally had 6 months of no deals from a good amount of marketing. And being able to get through that is like the payoff is amazing. And it's really cool to see on someone like that.
I was having this conversation with, and he said a lot of times, he's like, you got to gauge the client or the potential seller. They don't always need to be on the phone. What do these people have in common? They grind, they attack it, they put their earmuffs on and their heads down, and they get through the obstacles when they come up, because they're going to come up. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today's topic, we're talking about the best success stories of 2024 in the land community. I'm your host, Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. And this was a good one because the year's wrapping up. We're at Thanksgiving this week. And we've had the whole year to kind of compile a list of what we're seeing over and over again in terms of the students and what they're doing. And this is really unique because so many of these students that we're going to talk about all do different strategies. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm really excited about for going forward into 2025. All these niches, all these different strategies coming together. Because as the land industry gets bigger, Ron, niches form. And although it's getting more competitive, other niches are opening up that are not competitive at all, which provides tremendous amount of value.
Yeah, I think it's cool as we're, like you said, as we're wrapping up 2024, seeing our top student success stories. Some are not, it's not always just like whoever made the most money or anything like that. Some it's just like cool stories that you hear, what this business model did for them. And going into it, like we talked about, like who's going to be on those 2025 success stories. Mm-hmm. Some of these people might repeat and they might scale their business up 5X. It might be someone listening right now who's about to get started and then they're just going to crush in 2025. So
yeah, some of them only need $50,000 to quit their job or whatever 100%. It is. And it's, you know, and also don't take this list like it's the only people. There's literally, we were looking through and there's hundreds.
No, I wrote down too many that we can talk about.
Yeah, so there's hundreds and hundreds of people that have these success stories, but we took people that we see in the conversations more, in the chats more, in the webinars. And if we missed you, don't worry, you're on the list somewhere. It's just this is only so long.
Yeah, 100%. Who jumps off? And we can talk about like some of it's just mind. A lot of these people, like you said, different strategies, but the mindset's the same for most of them. But who off the top of your head is kind of the first person that comes to mind in terms of success story?
It's a tough one. There's so many. Like you just look, I was going through the member success story before this, and there are so many cool stories in there.
There's so many that we haven't heard, too.
I think the one that we've heard of, I'm probably just saying it because it's on the top of my mind, but is one of the coolest ones who dove in full force, does it full time since month one, was Roy.
Yeah. Roy, I had on the podcast a few weeks ago, or it might be a week. I don't know when it was, but he was couch flipping. He was flipping things for $300, $300 margins. Now he's flipping things for $15,000, $20,000 margins.
Yeah, couch flipping.
And he just went all in from the start. And what I really like about Roy is he doesn't have like he's got a family too. So it's not like there's a lot of excuses he could have had as why he didn't want to do this, but he jumped in, he believed in it. I had no clue his success, honestly, and there's a lot more people like this until I hopped on the podcast with him last week. He's done so many different modes of marketing. He's done mail. He's done texting.
He's diverse, yeah.
Yeah, he's done I think he did some cold calling as well. I don't know if it was him or he outsourced with a VA, I think. But yeah, he's an amazing story.
Now he's texting full time.
It's cool to see him with a kid.
And he only texts from like he said 9 a.m. to 11 or something. I don't know the exact time.
That's what I asked him.
He's done midday.
After off camera on the podcast the other day, I asked him, what does your schedule look like? What's your availability? He's like, listen, honestly, like I try to start sending texts out at like 7, 8 a.m. I send them for 3 hours and I can be done by 11, 12. He spends time with his family after that.
Very cool. Makes a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, he did, I think $200,000 profit his first 12 months. And just where I see him going, he can definitely be a success story for 2025 for a completely different reason.
He will be. That's his first 12 months, and that's, just off texting, minimal marketing spend because he's not sending mail. That's the difference you got to realize with him. He's not sending mail with that 200, and he has a lot of deals in the pipeline that are coming that are going to up that. But that mail, so his gross profit his net profit's a lot more relative to his gross.
Expenses.
Yeah, there's not expenses.
He was big on that when I talked to him, like as far as keeping his operating expenses down. He had a VA that he let go.
It's $500 a month.
100%. Yeah, he's grinding through 20,000. He's doing 20,000 text messages a month with 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
Making $200,000. He's going to do a lot more next year, I'm sure. But yeah, it's really cool. He's really, really efficient with his time. And what I really like about his story is he made adjustments. Like that's what the most successful people do, make adjustments with their business as they evolve.
Yep.
Going from there, One person, some people have like so much success out of the gate. Some people struggle a little bit out of the gate, and they're both awesome stories for sure. The struggle is definitely going to come, but one who just killed it out of the gate was Nick Ums. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Nick Yu. I remember him or I still see it. Like people ask like how many mailers it takes to get a deal, and Nick's like, yeah, it takes 400 mailers to get a deal, and it's just not the reality. But
he was doing some different areas too.
He was doing different areas that we're not used to, or that just people probably aren't used to getting mail and stuff, and I think he had it, which is good. Like he was very confident. He loves the business model. I don't know his personal story or anything.
He's closing deals on cruise ships now.
Is that what he's doing?
He was on I saw his message the other week. He was on a cruise ship. His wife, I think, was taking a nap, and he had like an hour spare time, and he's like, I just got off the phone and closed a deal or something like that. But he was on a cruise ship doing it, and he's like, it's like 24/7 business, and he was all excited to close the deal. But it was a cool little.
He's someone who like just comes off like just very positive in terms of the business model, and like there's a lot of
he doesn't listen to the outside noise.
Doesn't let the external of this is too saturated. This is like he's just doing it,
and I've never talked to him besides on chat.
Yeah, which is cool. Like I don't know numbers, I don't know, but doing it from the cruise ship's awesome. The success he had out of the gate, and he's bringing us deals every week to the Wednesday. Nick, I don't know if Ben reached out to Nick about getting on the podcast, but
he did.
We'll get Nick on the podcast here.
He's coming
to hear his story. Going from there, Dan, talk about so Jenna went to high school, or is from our high school. She's from our area. I think she learned about our program from one of your friends. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm good friends with their brother, and
Jenna Tamaris.
She might have followed me on Instagram or something. This was years ago too. This was like
she's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, this is long time ago. I don't know how long it's actually been, but she started out. And she's a nurse, so she has her nursing role, and she's doing it because she messages us a lot in the Wednesday calls from the hospital. It sounds like
full-time nurse. Yeah, she's watching it from a break room.
Yeah, full-time nurse, picks up extra hours and stuff. Does it with her husband, which is also cool. A lot of people, got married. Does it with her husband as well. They've been doing it together most of the time, I believe. But they have a cool story because they're doing it. I haven't had an in-depth conversation with them, to be honest, but last I talked, she built up her bank account of cash to a point where she really, really wanted it, and she wanted to triple that from there. And I don't want to give away any financial information or anything, but it was a good amount of cash sitting there, and she also had deals still that haven't sold, and she has a good pipeline, and she's been really, really consistent over time and just built hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity in the pipeline.
I think she said in 2024, Land paid for her wedding, if I remember correctly. Do you remember her saying that? I'm almost sure I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I think I did.
Jenna, tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm almost sure like she got married in 2024 and Land flipping helped pay for her wedding, which is really cool. Like she is grinding. Like she is.
It's a cool husband-wife combo too.
100%. Yeah, they work well. They're obviously doing well with that.
But they've been consistent. They're not not aggressively sending 50,000 text mailers. They've stuck with direct mail from my understanding. They work their leads hard. They look for the opportunities. I think they've tried some subdivides or to sell a couple of different lots before, but they're just very consistent. They don't listen to all the outside stuff either. Direct mail, blind offers, negotiate on the phones, close the deals. It's been impressive how consistent they are. It's not like a huge spike at the front and then it drops off over time. They've just been a flat line consistent, and it really paid off without listening to external news.
And with like the other work stuff and like being really busy, like I think direct mail works so well for them because their direct mail is so efficient with marketing strategies, and then they can work the leads, and it's something. Like I said earlier, some people make adjustments throughout the way. Like their one, from what I understand, is they've kind of stuck to the script as far as like direct mail. It's going to take a few thousand mailers to get a deal, 3, 4, whatever it is. It depends, but it's worked out really well for them. I don't know. Again, I don't know.
She put a success story in yesterday.
She just did about a deal that she was.
But this was she had it since last November,
October, I think.
October or something. She's had it over a year, right? And that deal, she originally bought it for, I think, 35. Was that right, Ron?
I don't remember.
I don't know the exact numbers, but she bought it for 30. Let's just say 35 for the sake of this. And then she went to sell it, and she was going to sell each lot for around that, I believe. And, it was a really killer deal. But then the perk test came back and it was wet, or a soil scientist told her it was really wet. And then all the feedback she was getting, hey, this is really wet, this is really wet. So she got a recommendation to sell it as one parcel. And then this was like a fail story that kind of turned into a success story. So she ended up getting the soil scientist or someone told her to sell it as one as a 10-acre. And then she listed it. She got it under contract twice. One fell out because of the bank. One fell out because of another reason. And then she finally got it under contract again. And this is over the course of a whole year, all these things playing out. And then she finally just sold it this week for $45,000. So she still made 10,
12.
but she learned a lot. Yeah, she made 12, I think she said. But she learned a lot over the process of it too, which was a cool, honest, hey, we dealt with this issue. We had this failed, this wet piece of property. We had all this stuff. There's alternatives, but they kept looking into it. And her lesson from it was, don't get defeated by the property. Like, find solutions.
Yeah. That is a success story. Like, you made $12,000 from a property. Yeah, you might have thought it was going to be a lot better, but as far as offloading poor land, it
reminded me of our property with the trash.
Yeah,
like, you just got to find a solution. We had to sew them together, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one. I was trying to think which one you were talking about. We've had a lot of properties with trash, yeah, that's a really cool one. And like we said at the beginning, like, she's been doing this consistently for years. Going from there, Dan, I mean, I have a few. We had Chad on the podcast a few months ago. Chad was not in land investing. He jumped all in. He wanted to do one-on-one coaching from the start. So he was with Anthony with one-on-one coaching. Anthony is an amazing one-on-one coach. So he was with Anthony for 90 days. And I think on those 90 days, he had $220,000 of projected profit. This is from, like, for example, you get started January 1st in this business, December 1st, whatever. 90 days after that, he had $220,000.
That's like a Landon story.
Landon had more struggles at the beginning, though, than Chad. Chad did have some hurdles and stuff, but Landon was
Landon a coach from day one?
No. What do you mean from day one? A coaching student?
No, he wasn't.
I don't believe so. I don't think we were offering
That's probably some of the difference because when you have a one-on-one coach, you're going to have less obstacles. You're going to have the same obstacles, but you're going to overcome them at first much, much faster.
Yeah. Chad's a salesman naturally. He's I don't know. I think he's still working his job. I think he has a pretty solid sales job, if I remember correctly. And but I would be shocked if 2025 he's not leaving that job. Maybe his goal isn't to do that, but I'd be shocked because when you just look, like Landon, like you're just talking about, when you look at the numbers, like, okay, I'm just putting more time towards my 9 to 5 and making more money.
His is flexible though. He told me it's a really nice setup. He works from home. It's like
it's hard to leave those for sure.
Yeah. Especially when it's not taking your time. Let's go to Landon next.
Yeah, Landon's been on our podcast twice. He does some coaching for us. I think he said 2024 he did $800,000 of gross profit, or he's expected to do $700,000 or $800,000 of gross
year
profit.
One. That's full year one.
Full year one. He started last
October.
Like, he's barely in a year. So yeah, 700 or 800. He is one who quit his job in 2024. He was on our podcast twice in 2024, so you can go back and listen to it. But he just went all in. Like,
everyone should listen to both those. Listen to the first one and then the second one, and look at the difference of how much he grew from that 3, 4, or 5, whatever months it was, 6 months.
He was traveling for his job. Actually, it was for his wife's job. But he was traveling, working his job when he came to the podcast the first time, and the second time, like, he was on his way to Hawaii or just got back from Hawaii. I think. And yeah, it's crazy to see the difference of his growth, and his growth the next 12 months are going to be, I would be surprised if he doesn't do $2-3 million next year. Just
if he keeps grinding and scaling and hiring, that's for sure where he's going. Speaking of Landon, I want to go to his buddy Dylan next, because Dylan's been another good success story. Different strategies a little bit. Dylan's a lot of times in very specific markets, big opportunity deals. He has a podcast as well with us. $500,000 deals, 2 podcasts with us, $500,000 deals, $800,000 deals. All these deals every week he's bringing. It's like 200,000 acquisition, sell for 400 or 500. It's crazy. And I like his strategy because he brings a deal every week, first off. So he's consistent.
Which is crazy,
yeah, he brings a big deal opportunity every week. Not all of them go through. A lot of them do. A lot of them don't. But it's just really cool because he's doing a hot market, expensive land, minor subdivide.
Just did a $90,000 double close too, which is another.
And talk about those numbers though.
I think that was buy for 380, sell for. I could be
buy
wrong.
For 380, sell for mid 4s.
Yeah, but he made $90,000 on a double close. I don't remember the exact.
But those are I wanted to point out those margins because he did high price, low percentage margin. So he's at 90% of market value, 80%, whatever that is.
Ton of value to the seller.
80% of market value, and you're making $100,000 still from it.
100%.
90 grand. Yeah.
Yeah. He's one who is taking on the business model. He's made adjustments to how he does it and sees what's best. The thing about it, when the way Dylan does, and what's really, he has financing, like he, not his own.
Oh yeah, good
but
point.
like he knows funding is so important. He takes funding extremely seriously.
It's the most important part of your business, or one of,
especially when you're going
going these big deals.
Yeah, like you can't just go after
small deals is one of the least important.
Yeah, you need opportunity. People, you can't just like come to us for every $500,000 deal and just expect us to say yes every time. We will say yes a good amount of time if the deal makes sense for our business, but like having other options for financing is huge, and that's what Dylan takes really
creative
seriously.
Financing with it. So he's doing he puts down a
Seller
down payment. Yeah, so some seller financing. He puts down a down payment. He has interest payments only for the first 12 months. Then after that, he pays once a year interest plus principal. It's deferred payments for 30 days, so no payments. He's going to subdivide it off, and he has probably a lien or something on the property where he's going to pay over time. But it's things like that. Creative financing. Maybe you put some cash down. Maybe you get some bank financing. I know he's looked at that too, I'm sure. Maybe you get some seller financing. Combination of them all. That's why it has to be creative. But it's limitless if you can figure that system out.
Yeah. I got a few more on here, Dan. Probably one that people haven't heard for the most part is John Horner, who's a coaching student as well.
Oh, Horner's a beast.
John is one who comes from wholesaling, correct?
Yeah.
He comes from wholesaling.
He has a big wholesale company and flipping.
I think he's
got 20-something employees. Yeah, he's got like 25 employees.
Yeah, so he comes from the wholesaling background, which a lot of people listening to this. And he is a high volume guy as far as high volume mail. I've tried to talk to him and be like, John, do you want to look into texting him? Nope. And he just keeps on sending direct mail, working leads. He's got good realtor. He's another one with good realtor contacts in his area and really, really good financing contacts. And
from
those
his
are
wholesale.
From his wholesale
and
background.
Flipping, yeah.
But finding
and
those,
managing.
They make good money. The people who are lending him money still make really solid money. John's someone who I wish I knew. I would be shocked if he didn't do $500,700,000 profit this year.
On the side, this is from his other business too. Like he owns a legit operating business that has an in-person office in Columbus, and they do a lot of business. And he took that mentality, brought it over to land. Because John was a coaching student, and we still coach him. But I'm trying to think, like, what was his reason for doing this? I think it was just
I think opportunity. I really do think a lot of it was opportunity. When he was always very like, he just was very action oriented in terms of how he did this business. Like he understood the opportunity. He understood that a lot of mail is gonna not come back, and like he just understood the game of what this is.
Because he was already doing
from a mail perspective.
Yeah.
It was better margins than wholesaling. He knew he could take a little smaller margins because he had really good lending contacts.
Yeah, no worrying about the whole inspections and the house quality and your contractors.
This is easy for him.
Yeah, this is easy for him. Yeah, that's a good point. No, John is very, very, very impressive how he's done things, and he's another one who just puts the earmuffs over. I bet you John hasn't ever done research on land investing outside of like what we've coached him on. Like he's just that focused.
I sent him a video on the land portal, and he's like, he had no clue about like that's how.
Yeah,
he's just doing his business.
He's doing his thing, and he's head down.
Yeah, but I respect that for sure, because some people are the complete opposite, and they get so distracted by everything that's happening everywhere else. We're about to do an episode. The next episode coming out will be a survey hacking one, and I'm sure it's going to distract a lot of people but people who don't listen. And that's when Landon came in the first time when he came in. He's like, when I started land investing, I didn't listen to Bigger Pockets anymore. I didn't listen to other podcasts. Like I was just all in land investing, because he knew if he starts listening to other real estate things, he could get distracted. So there's a lot of value in like staying tunnel vision focused on what you're doing.
Oh yeah. This list, like look at what people are doing. That's what they are. Like, is there anyone on this list who has been distracted like that completely?
I don't think so. Like people know what they're doing. People understand what's making them money.
It's good to look and keep an open, like Dylan with creative financing, but that's getting you more acquisitions.
And he understood it.
That's a part of your like pillars. That's not a business model. That's just a part of your pillars financing. You need it in your business. So he understood it enough to go after.
If we try to group this group into one, like that's probably the biggest thing, is like they understand what's making them money, and they stay really kind of tunnel vision focused without getting overly distracted. Some people just like, you go from flipping land and then you try to like start entitling. Like it is a different ball game when you start entitling things, like true entitling. Can you make money? Absolutely. But like you're not targeting that stuff. These people are just really hyper focused on what they're doing, and that's why they've seen so much success. I have a couple other names on here, Dan. I have Morgan and I have Shelby. Morgan's one, I think she came from wholesaling as well. Do you know? I believe she came from wholesaling.
Morgan M?
Yeah. Came from wholesaling. She just did her first deal, which was a double close, buy for like 145, sell for 185, I believe. She put in the member.
She's on the
success.
come up, yeah.
So yeah, she's
got a couple under contract, I think.
She asks a lot of questions, which is awesome. Like she's very she's into the business model. She's willing to sell double closing and stuff like that because that's when a couple of her deals have been double closes.
She's texting and not getting them on the phone and closing deals over text.
Really?
That's her thing. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's like the one thing we've gone back and forth a little bit in chat, and she's always in the calls asking questions, and she doesn't get them on the phone. She negotiates over text and gets deals that way, and it's working for her. And that's what I asked someone who texts a lot. I was having this conversation with, and he said a lot of times he's like, you got to gauge the client or the potential seller. They don't always need to be on the phone. Sometimes they'd rather
Roy
not.
said the same thing. I asked Roy the exact same thing. He's like, yeah, a lot of times you get
okay,
on the
that's
phone.
who I was talking to.
Yeah, it was Roy.
So when I was having a call with him.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's like, I prefer closing things over text, but obviously a lot of times you need to get on the phone. I mentioned Shelby here for a second, Dan. Shelby's one, a lot of her land success came in 2023.
She became a mom while doing this.
She became a mom while doing this. She quit her job. I think she's like really, really optimistic about 2025 in terms of land business. But 2023 land allowed her to do everything in 2024, which was be a mom full time, raise her daughter.
She always wanted that though. I remember her first. She was another coaching member with us, and Ron and I were talking. We're like, "What are you trying to get out of this?" She's like, "I want to be a stay-at-home mom while still doing something and making money." And we're like, "Let's go. We can get that for you." And then, next thing you know, 3 years fast forward,
she's come a long way.
She's a mom with the business operating with all this profit who, quit her job. All this different stuff worked in her favor. But it was her work in the past also that came forward to this timing. And she's still doing it, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
She's still doing land. I mean, she was on the podcast a month ago or something, maybe 6 weeks ago, and she's still doing land. She, like I said, she's optimistic about 2025.
It's cool to hear though, like people, especially women who have that vision. A lot of women want to become mothers, and if you're not a mother already, or you're already a mother, like this is a way to work something that doesn't require that many hours while still maintaining your family. Yeah, it's short-term sacrifice while still maintaining and being a stay-at-home mom if that's what you want or whatever the goals are. But there's a lot of people out there.
Shelby was grinding at first, and she came a long way. Like she was not good. She will admit she was not a good on the phone in sales. Her business partner, neither of them are good on the phone, but they kept on wanting to learn. Yeah. They're willing to talk to people on the phone. They got so much better at sales. They closed a $300,000 profit. Like that $300,000 profit deal, I believe closed in 2023. Like that funded their 2024, honestly, and like that funded her being able to be a mom and do all that stuff. So yeah, everyone on here has different stories for sure. Everyone has different goals as well. Talk about 2025, Dan. As far as like a lot of people want to be that success story of 2025. Some of these people are going to be success story of 2025 as well, and they're going to be doing $2 million, whatever it is. They're going to be scaling up, and I still want to talk about them in 2025. But someone new who wants to be that 2025 success story.
Well, there's a lot of people that we haven't mentioned that deserve 100%. To be on this list. We only have so much time in this episode. Yeah, there's tons. I mean, the industry's booming, but you're saying what do people need to do to get on this list?
Yeah, I mean, if someone's like, I want to be one of those success, it's a real thing. Like you want to be called out in 12 months from now, as far as like you kicked ass. Maybe we'll do this every Thanksgiving.
You look at this list and you just group them like you said. What do these people have in common? They grind, they attack it, they put their earmuffs on and their heads down, and they don't get distracted with all the outside noise, and they get through the obstacles when they come up because they're gonna come up. Yeah. Shelby, like. I'm talking about her because I know her story better than most because of our one-on-one coaching and stuff, but they were not getting a lot of deals for a long time, and then they got that $300,000. Like they were struggling for a long time, and they just kept going slowly but surely, sending out their mail, getting the leads, plugging away.
Felt like our deal when she closed. When I saw that message, like it felt like I was proud.
Yeah,
I remember.
They have that obstacle. Yeah. Everyone on this list, like they have the same traits. They really do, and that's the one thing I think we can take out of this is like you want to be on this list.
Skills are different. Traits are the same.
You're going to build the skills with the traits. Yeah. Like real estate, you don't need to be that intelligent to make $1 million. You don't need the highest IQ. You can grind and, be strategic, put your head down and focus. I think that's the biggest thing is just like really getting through those obstacles and keeping a good mindset during it.
I agree. I mean, it's people listening who have not done a single land deal, who haven't marketed for land, can without a doubt be on this list.
If you fail, it's on you.
100%. And that's what. Too many people who fail blame external things.
Exactly. And these people all know this business model works. When they started, They know it. Shelby did have a deal early on that kept her faith in the business model.
I remember, yeah.
So she had a really early, sold the same day, buy for 15, sell for 30 or something.
Yeah.
So she got the proof of concept. She's like, wow, this is cool. Then she got the funder to back her. I think it was her uncle or something.
Yeah.
Or no. It was her partner.
Yeah.
That's who funded the deal, and then they became partners.
That's it, right.
Chase, right? Chase.
Yeah, Chase.
And we talk about Shelby so much and not Chase. They're the same business. They work together. Brother-in-law, right?
Correct.
So they got that and they had that proof of concept, but that kind of pushed them through, but not everyone has that. But either way, they hit hard times for 6 to 8 months, like really difficult. And you can break this list down to everyone, and they've all hit the same thing at some point. And it's interesting to see our chats in our community, Ron. People are going through this right now. Those hard times, and they're grinding just like anyone else, and they have those same traits.
You see it coming.
And I'm just waiting for that.
It's exciting because, yeah, I mean, the first podcast I did with Shelby, I don't know when it was, but if you type in, I think you can probably type her in on our thing. The first podcast on our channel, the first podcast we did, I remember her talking about the struggle, and she just started to see some of the other side of that struggle. But like it was cool. Like she literally had 6 months of no deals from a good amount of marketing, and being able to get through that is like the payoff is amazing, and it's really cool to see on someone like that.
And always give it 6 months minimum, because if you can get any business, I don't care what business it is, any business out there, if you can get it profitable within 6 months, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because you know your next 6 months, you're building those skills. You know nothing, right? You start with knowing absolutely nothing. And then your knowledge base and your skills start expanding out. And those 6 months you get profitable. Maybe you have some people like Chad A, whatever, they got $200,000 in the pipeline within 3 months. That's going to happen. But give it 6 months. If you're even in that green, in that profit margin with accepted, like that's exceptional for any other business model. And then you got to realize those next 6 months and your skills are built. You know what's going on. You know the deals that are coming in. You know how to analyze land. It's going to get easier and easier and easier. So sometimes you do have to drop the expectations on yourself when you hit those hard times too, and just look at the facts. Okay, I've only been in it 90 days. I've sent 6 marketing campaigns. I got 1 deal. That deal is going to break even on all my other mailers. I got some potential leads here, but 6,000 of those mailers haven't hit yet. Sometimes you just got to step back and look at the facts because you're new. And sometimes you just need to look at the basics, and you're breaking even and in the profit zone and still haven't had mail hit. Just whatever. Sometimes you just got to bring people back, lower their expectations, and then you start to ride the waves as you get better.
That's a huge point. If you guys are trying to be on this, Dan, I think the big thing is like every Black Friday we release a really, really good deal. We only let 50 people into this. It's $995 bootcamp CRM, 500 skip traces, 500 property records, 2,000 done for you. Like it is one-on-one onboarding call. If you guys aren't on the wait list, make sure you join the wait list. It's in the description below.
How much is it?
$995. Like this is at least a $4,000 offer. It's probably more than that, honestly.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize it was that cheap. Actually, there's no other sale any time of the year that's as low as this.
No, it's Black Friday. That's what we do. Like
Not
we
even
try to
close.
help people.
Do we even do any other sales?
No, we don't. But it's people who we don't do sales. It's people who want to take action like right now. They're ready to get rolling. They want 2025. They want to be on this list in 2025. So I'm excited to see, but we do cut it off at 50 people just because of the demand and how much we need to provide on the back end. Wait list is in the description below. Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You need to be on the wait list to get in Friday at 10 a.m. That's when it's going to be released. First 50 people can get in. Other than that, guys, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.
What if they're listening on Spotify?
If they're listening on Spotify, in the description. Wait list link in the description. Yeah.
Right on, guys. Well, thanks for joining. We'll see you guys next episode.
Thanks, guys.
As always, thank you for joining. Please do us a huge favor and like and subscribe our YouTube channel and share this with a friend. It really means the world to Ron and I, but more importantly, it could help change the life of someone else. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next episode.